you guys look here, she didn't quite get that hot glue to stick to the cup, and so since that poster board is really wet, like since you put the brown paper on there, it's pulling that poster board away from the cup since it's not really stuck down to that cup. So she's going to have to go back and re-hot glue this. So this is why you want to make sure that they're like super glued down really well, because once it's wet, it's going to start getting wet. So yeah, so make sure it's hot glued. Once you get all your cups totally hot glued to the poster board, they're not going anywhere, everything looks good, you're going to start putting this brown Blick tape on your letter. So I've got a few here that are actually in this class, and they're beautiful. And so yeah, so we've got two different styles that are going on here. We've got a T, which is a very like geometrical shape, like lots of hard angles, and this K has some nice curves happening. So what's happened, she's cut these strips in half so that she can use more to create these softer curves. Like this is fine, like she didn't have to really cut any of this down, any of her strips down, because it just fit. So make sure that that brown paper is overlapping so it has something to stick to. Because like if you have a bunch of space between, like you're going to have a bunch of holes and gaps and it's not going to work because we're going to paint these things solid. Like you'll see that B back there, like it's a solid B. So there's no gaps or weird holes or anything. The entire thing is going to be covered in this brown paper. So yeah, so like I don't want to have this big gap here like that. I want to make sure that I've got it so that it has something to attach to. So whenever I am working with this tape, it requires water to get sticky. So we've got little trays over here for you to fill with water. You're going to share them with whoever you're sitting next to, and you're going to share the tape with the people at your table as well. So you might have to pull off like a big long strip and then just work with that and then get another one. Make sure that you don't get this entire thing wet. Like if you set that in water, it's going to stick. It's going to become a big thing of big donut glue. So it's very not delicious. And it will not work anymore. So be very careful where you're setting these. Make sure, because your tables are going to get wet, because you're going to be doing this number right here. Like, see if you guys can see. So I've got my little tray of water here. There's sticky side, there's not sticky side. Sticky side is going to get really sticky whenever you get it wet. So I'm just doing, like it doesn't take a lot of water, so I'm just doing a quick little douse in there, getting the excess off. And then I am going to attach it to my letter. So be really careful where you're putting this tape too. Because like you don't, like, I have that lined up perfectly with the top of my J. If I do it something like this, that's gonna look bad. So make sure you're lining up those angles properly with your letter and covering as much area as you can with this brown tape. Now some of these, you've got a lot of like different curves and stuff, and it's kind of tricky to get that with the tape that's this thick. So you might be having to cut it in half long ways. So, and then that way, like this is going to be a lot easier to make my curves. It'll cover less area, so you can do a lot more fine detail with smaller strips. So, and if this is too thick, maybe you cut that one in half too. But you want it to be able to stretch across from one side of the poster to the other side of the poster and connect just like that. So you're going to be doing at least two layers of this tape. So like whenever you put it on there, you'll notice like it seems really fragile and it doesn't really seem like it's going to support anything, but this is pretty solid right here. And then, Tegan, how many layers do you have on here? Just one? Two? Sweet. So yeah, she's got a couple layers on here and it's pretty solid. But she'll need to come back and maybe do like a strip here to cover up. She's got some holes going on, which is inevitable but there's ways, like maybe this next time she's going to come back just to cover up those areas, because we're going to paint these. So we're going to use primer on these and cover everything. So if you've got these holes in here, you're going to get paint leaking in there that's never going to dry. So make sure that you just cover all the holes, no holes. So yeah, so she can come back with her tape this direction now and get a nice smooth surface, and that has closed the hole. And that's something that you may also want to do, like whenever you're getting these, like the curves, maybe you come back with the paper the other direction and you can cover that up that way. So you want to get these surfaces as flat and smooth as possible, because we're going to prime them and we're going to paint them, so it'll make your lives easier the flatter you get your surface. Cover the entire thing, no white area and no holes. And yeah, figure out which side you want to be the front. Well, I guess, you know, most of your letters will have to be one way, but you know. Is there any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Does everybody understand how to build this? Okay, this is due by Friday, so we need to have at least 2 layers, making this look nice and solid and strong by Friday. So, and then once you guys start getting to a point where you're like done, like Tika might just have to, you know, like put 2 things on this and then she's done. And then maybe she needs to start worrying about her armature next. So, and that's the little duct tape and paper